My name is Brittany. At the end of 2022, I decided that I wanted to start my very first podcast about Black or African American entrepreneurs, activists, authors, artists, really anybody you could think of that's a community leader. Honestly, at first I was going to make a podcast about entrepreneurs, and then February came around, Black History Month, and there are all these things happening about this is a Black African American invention, or did you know African Americans started this and started that, and I became inspired. I'm like, there are all these stories about African Americans that no one knows about. Even today that we're still uncovering different Black stories and Black inventions and Black ideas. And I don't want it just to be a discovery. I want it to be a reality. One thing that's different about this podcast is that it's not done in your typical studio. We'll actually be having conversations with these artists and leaders in the comfort of their chosen environment. And this could be anything from coffee shop to riding in the car, whether it's in the comfort of their own home or playing poker somewhere, I don't know. I think being able to do something like this in the comfort of someone's chosen environment, I feel like it opened up a different side of a person that you would normally hear from within a studio. I mean, I could be wrong, but I don't know. I think being able to walk around and being described the things that have made this person the leader that they are today, or even the human that they are today, I think that's beyond inspiring. This is the live interview, not live interview, I guess. This is the interview. I want to go live one day, but this is the welcome to the Apprentice podcast. This is a brand new interview, and first we're going to start off with our first question: is who you are, who are you, where are we, and what do you do?
Thank you for having me. My name is Ronald Pollard. I am a portrait photojournalist, commercial photographer. That's a lot because I cover quite a few genres. I shoot commercially for brands, banks, headshots, corporate business, as well as events, travel, and I teach photography as well. I teach lighting specifically. I teach knowing and understanding your camera, but this is our studio. We're here in our studio in Huntsville, Alabama. And I've been a world traveler for many, many, many years, since I was about 20 years of age. And been able to take my children to at least 15 countries around the world. So, and I myself has been about 44 countries, 45 countries.
Wow.
And so I've traveled a lot and done a lot and been amazingly blessed to tell stories, to captivate, capture stories with people, and craft. That's who I am. I'm Ronald Kenneth Pollard, the husband of one wife and the father of 2 kids and 2 grandkids.
Oh, wow. Oh, congratulations. That's so exciting.
Thank you. Thank you. I love them. That's the best part of my life, really. My wife, my family, my kids, my grandkids. That's the best part of my amazing son-in-law. That's the best part of my life.
Oh, wow. That's awesome. I guess where did you originate? I guess where are you originally from? Like, what's the very beginning?
I was born in New Orleans, Louisiana, and my love for photography began when I met my first camera from my brother Sidney, and he introduced me to cameras coming out of Vietnam, and so as a result of that, I was able to. It stuck with me to see people's memories on film. Because back then, it was all film, 35 millimeter film. Before there was digital, there was film.
Oh, wow.
And so I fell in love with the art of storytelling as a child. Yeah, in New Orleans, 5 or 6 years old. And it's been a love. I did many other things in my life. I studied ministry for a while, and I loved it. And I was a speaker and presenter and an organizer. And while I did that, I did photography based out of Los Angeles. Quite a bit of photography, quite a bit of runway, fashion, family, event work, and trained for photography while in Los Angeles, California.
Oh, wow. What was that? How did you make that shift from being like lead pastor to photography? That's pretty dramatic.
It was a process. I was doing both things at the same time all along. So I would take care of some of the parishioners and the needs, but I would also go to focus on my passion, my other passion. And I would shoot for magazines. So I would be asked to photograph runways, fashion shows.
Oh, snap. So this is why you're being pastor. So it's like, oh, wow, that's a lot to jump around to.
But it was amazing. I loved it. And I was able to photograph concerts with Vicki Winans and Fred Hammond and Kirk Franklin and Mary Mary and Warren Campbell and several others, many others, Shaka Khan, and I mean, so many, you know, Norman Hutchins, you name them, man. I mean, so many throughout Los Angeles, you know, because everybody comes through LA. And so I'd go do that and turn the work in to the agencies that hired me. And we kept moving.
Wow.
Kept it growing. But I did them parallel. I did them together. So, and I couldn't get my mind off my camera, and I couldn't get my camera off my mind. I mean, I just loved it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I love my people, and I love my photography. But my wife was very influential because she loved me, and she loves me, and she loved us doing that. And so that was a lot of fun.
Oh, that's awesome.
And it is a lot of fun to this day.
Yeah. I guess I know you said like everyone goes through Los Angeles, but I guess so. What made you go from there to Huntsville, Alabama? What was that transition, or was it
I came down here because I was working at an institution, and it was cool. But the other thing was we wanted our son and daughter to have a historically black college experience because they were born and raised, for the most part, in Southern Cal. And west of the Mississippi, there is no historically black college or university out there, none. And so we wanted our children to have that and to experience that. And by God's grace and his goodness, they have. And they both graduated, and they graduated well, and mission accomplished. Yeah. Mission satisfied.
Oh, wow. Was it like, I know you, of course, it was difficult to want to do the most for your kids and everything. How was that like transitioning your photography and being like, okay, this is something different for me. This is a new area. I have to learn a whole new like space. And
they were ready for me to do it before I did it.
Oh, they were ready? Oh,
they
wow.
were ready. They were ready, and they've participated. My son has made many videos. My daughter has done several photography gigs and jobs with me. My wife has gone with me to several photography jobs and gigs. So the family was ready. They embraced the transition, and they embraced it because you see, again, all along, they grew up with it. Yeah. So it wasn't that big a deal to them. They grew up with me photographing and traveling, you know, and a lot of travel. Yeah. Back and forth to Africa and Europe a lot, Australia, New Zealand, the Caribbean, but a lot of travel. So they were used to it, and so they were ready for it too.
Okay. Man, tell me about that first trip when you say you're traveling, but that sparked your love for traveling that caused you to go to 44 different countries, because that's wild. My
first international trip beyond Mexico, which is right next to California, beyond Mexico, was to Zimbabwe and South Africa. Unbelievable to see the world. We stayed in London a few hours because we had to get our plane, our next flight from LAX to London. Yeah, and then we just went into South Africa, Johannesburg. And so that was the first place I landed, was Johannesburg. Whoa, and that was incredible to see the Zulu. And making the noises, the sounds, and collectively dancing and moving and protesting together as one. That was sensational. And then to Zimbabwe. So Johannesburg, South Africa, London, and Zimbabwe.
And that was a photography trip?
Yeah, it was humanitarian.
Humanitarian.
But I did photos while I was there.
Oh, wow.
I had to tell the story.
Yeah.
So I was photographing everything. And so we were there delivering clothes, delivering relief, helping those who were less fortunate, but coming back with the photos to tell the story.
You talked a lot about this story in general behind your pictures.
Yeah.
Like, I understand that's important, but where did that importance start for you?
When I saw my brother's pictures, it started for me when I saw my brother's photos from Vietnam. That you can capture memories and tell stories visually. That's how that started for me, when I saw his work from Vietnam, my brother Sidney.
Wow. That's awesome. What's been, I guess, your most influential, story that you've been able to share through your images?
Ooh.
If you can choose one. I know there's a lot. There's definitely a lot.
Definitely one of the top. Definitely one of the top ever.
Wow.
This is an old print taken with a 50 millimeter lens. This young lady, this little girl, was about 4 or 5 years old, and she was an orphan, and she was very sick. And so we took blankets and pens and pencils over there to Mombasa, Kenya. And the joy in her face has stayed with me for over 20 some odd years.
Oh, wow.
I have kept this picture, this portrait, with natural light, because whenever I've gone through a bad day or a good day, there's always somebody who had it worse. And this young lady, to my knowledge, she passed away about 7-8 months after this portrait.
Oh, wow.
But the joy we gave to her by giving her the basic necessities, it did a couple of things for me. Number one, it stopped me complaining about first world inconveniences. First world.
Yeah.
Okay, the water's not hot, okay? Some people don't have running water at all, i.e. right here. And then it taught me to be grateful for the opportunities to document, to share, to tell stories, that kind of thing. So this has stayed with me forever.
Oh, wow.
And will stay with me.
Yeah.
I had it on my website for many, many, many years. I
Yeah.
finally had to remove it because with websites, you gotta
Keep
switch out
updating.
and
Okay.
update your photos and stuff like that.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's an awesome story.
Thank you so much. So that has stayed with me. That has stayed with me forever, and it will. Like I said again, stay with me forever.
Oh, that's awesome. I guess, how do you go about being able to mentor others? And I know you have your children and everything. Do you mentor in? But how do you share that? What you're thinking? Put all that onto paper, or just
It's hard.
verbally?
It's
Yeah.
hard. I'm not gonna lie. It's hard because what I do organically and naturally, I have to stop and diagnose it and make myself think. These are the elements of storytelling. These are are the elements of capture. The angles, the colors, the moments, the backstory, and bringing that to the forefront. Those things make all the difference in the world. And so you have to stop and tell yourself, this is what it takes to create a moving or storytelling or an important photo, an important portrait or an important photojournalism piece. This is what it takes. And it takes taking time to diagnose, what is it that I'm doing? The f-stops, the apertures, the ISOs, the angles, the colors, the rhythms, the distance to ratio, all of that stuff matters. All of that matters. And so you have to stop yourself, because you can do it so much until, to teach others, you have to pause. Lighting. Why certain types of light in certain situations? What colors work together best? All of that stuff is important. So you have to pause and think about it, and then prepare to break it down so people can understand it and digest it, and practice it too, because they have to practice what you tell them, what you teach them.
That's true. In order to execute, for real. I understand firsthand, actually.
I know you do. Yeah, I know you do. I know.
Yes.
And you are doing a great job. You're learning, and you're great at it. It's just you got to stop and repeat it, because you want it to be as organic as your hand.
Yes. Exactly.
You don't look at your hand to pick up a bag. You pick up a bag because your hand is there.
Exactly.
That's how it's got to be with you, and one with your equipment. You know, because the equipment is just an extension of you.
That's true. And for those who don't know, I'm a student of Mr. Pollard.
Yeah.
Right now.
A wonderful student.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Y'all heard it here first. So we're going to say that right now.
And she did not pay me to say it either.
Yeah, I did not pay him. Let's say no monetary, nothing was exchanged. There we go.
Yeah.
So
that's one of the joys of teaching your generation, because you guys have come up in a whole different era. You know, for me it was film. You know, and light and dark rooms, but for you it's digital.
yeah.
And especially video with the autofocus stuff that's going on today. That's all you guys have known.
Yeah.
And so, for those of us who've been doing it a long time, we know that and we know this, so we understand it. I don't do as much video as you, but my son does, and he's sensational. You know, at doing video. He's quite a storyteller, and he's got the gear, the knowledge, the passion, and the focus to do it. But again, he's around your age.
I guess like even with like teaching everyone, teaching everyone, how do you kind of like continue to learn? How do you set yourself up to continue to learn no matter what? I know you know a lot already about everything camera wise.
For me, I'm inspired. It's who inspires me. The people that inspire me to keep growing, getting better. I mean, watching you do video is inspiring. You know, it is. And I know that we may not have the same knowledge levels, but still, watching you pull it off, the video you did of Tempo, that was cool.
Yeah, thank
you. That was so cool to see you do that. And that's before we get into the next set of lessons. You know, the next stuff we're about to do, I think is going to be even greater for you. So, but it's the people who inspire me, because, Brittany, nobody gets to the next level by themselves.
Yeah.
You're inspired by somebody. You know, Gordon Parks, you know, Matthew Jordan Smith, people like that, Kwaku Alston, Joe McNally, Jerry Guiones, brother named George Deloche out in California. These are people who inspire you, you know, as well as several others that inspire you to be better, to do more. Amy Vitale, who's in, and then it's different areas of photography that inspire me, you know, because I love concert work.
Yeah.
I love safari. I love that. You know, as you know, we're going back to do our Captivate Kenya workshops in August. Yeah, that's right.
Tell me more about that.
We're getting ready to do that. But we're going to be doing workshops on safari in the Masai Mara in Kenya. And we're going to take about 10 people, and we're going to do amazing safari work. We're going to stay at some of the coolest locations. Oh my gosh, yeah, they're going to have the water nice, piping hot, great food on safari, and in the hotels that we stay at, the safari lodges, and it's going to be dope. We're going to be in 4x4 Land Cruisers.
Oh wow!
So that means 4 people in a Land Cruiser, so there'll be plenty of room to shoot. Wow. Lions, cheetahs, gazelle, wildebeest, elephants, giraffes. If you can find a rhinos, water buffalo, Nile river, African crocodiles, the huge ones, the ones that are like 15 to 20 feet long, crocs like that. So we'll be petting elephants. Oh yeah, we'll be petting elephants. We'll be feeding giraffes with our mouths.
Oh really?
Yes,
You would do that?
Yes.
I don't know about all that.
Yes, I know you don't. The most healing saliva in the world. If you get an abrasion or a cut, they use giraffe syrup, because all they do is eat vegetables. They're complete vegetarians, and so their saliva is very healing.
Oh.
And so they give us the food to feed them with our hands, or people use their mouths and stuff, and it's funny to watch it happen. Yeah, so just an amazing 10 days coming up. And we're going to focus, and I'm taking a designer with me. Bad boy. He's a Disney Plus graphic designer. He worked on Avatar, Iron Man, all of that stuff. And he's an amazing teacher as well. So he's going with us to teach design, color, form, and everything on the safari workshops.
Amazing.
Yeah,
When is this?
Captivate Kenya.
Yeah.
August 31st through September 10th.
Okay, yeah, it's coming up. Dang.
Yeah, coming up.
Oh,
And it's not going to be big this year, but next year it's going to be crazy.
yeah, it's
We're just getting it started this year.
Okay, so this is year one of this.
Of that.
Of that, okay.
But it's year 26 of me going to Africa
Okay.
and traveling. So I know lots of organizations and people over there.
So you're set, you're ready.
Yeah,
That's
pretty-
awesome.
yeah. I know the American Embassy quite well, and I work closely with those people to make sure we're safe.
Yes, for sure. That's awesome. What's been that journey of like taking what inspires you, kind of making it your own into your own like brand that is Ronald Pollard, like?
The Ronald Pollard look, and feel. That would take more time than we have. But I would say this. It's studying the greats. Steve McCurry, who does travel photography. He's phenomenal. Joey L., the young man who's only 24, 25, 26. Incredible talent. I've named some of the others before. Lindsay Adler in fashion. So I've taken elements from everybody and amalgamated those or aggregated those into certain aspects of what I'm doing. We photographed Cat Williams, the comedian and actor, and all of those people were present with me as we prepared him for his photo shoot a year ago. Oh, wow. And now we're going back to do it again this weekend. And they've called us back, and so with all of them, we bring those concepts, and it helps you create your own voice. It truly does. It helps you create your own voice. It helps me create what I love doing. So I take pieces and then pull it all together, and it's me.
That's awesome. Thank you. I guess one more thing.
Yeah.
If you had any advice, whether it's for your younger self or just younger generations now, growing up, I guess what would it be? Whether it's life or photography, whatever you feel like you need.
In regards to photography, learn the craft. Do not rely on the camera to do for you what you should do for yourself. Practice, discipline yourself to shoot as if it's 36 rolls of film. 36 exposure. Practice. Get a 50 millimeter lens and practice with that 50 millimeter. Zoom in and out and learn the nuances of what your camera does with that 50 millimeter lens, because the 50 millimeter is the way the average world, we see in the average world, 50 millimeters. But I would say that learn the craft, study the craft, not just YouTube. Take classes, study with someone. Use YouTube, but don't rely on YouTube only. YouTube can't answer some of the nuanced questions, some of the issues that come up when you're getting ready to photograph somebody.
Yeah.
The stuff that happens at the last minute, unplanned, unscheduled. YouTube can't help you with that. You need to know how to make those adjustments. In camera, like a golfer, mid-course adjustments. You know, right in the middle of shoot and go.
Yeah.
So, that would be my biggest. Learn your craft and study your craft and invest in your craft. It'll pay you back.
Yeah.
Many times over. That would be it. That's what I can think of right now.
Well, I think that's it. Thank you so much.
Oh, keep God first. I mean, then after
Amen. Yeah.
keep God first. I mean, that's bigger than anything. Keep the Lord first. I mean, that's my success. It's Him, all Him, not me. I mean, T.D. Jakes says it beautifully. God doesn't make chairs; He makes trees. So I got to collaborate with my Father, my Heavenly Father, do my part, and watch Him expand the rest.
Yes. Exactly. That's all you can do.
That's where I am with it. My name is Ronald Pollard, and this is the Apprentice Podcast.
Yay!